Dun, dun. Thank you, ma'am. Love that. Okay, well, wonderful. Welcome to June's monthly meetup. We're meeting virtually this month because unfortunately I am recovering from COVID, but thank you guys for tuning in and catching our meetup today. And I'm really excited because this month's topic is lead generation and conversion. And we have our own local expert, Kimberli with Kimberli Social Cornering Company, here to chat about her expertise on this topic, which is lead generation and engagement on social media. So I would love to introduce Kimberli. She's going to tell us a little bit about her biz and how she ended up here in the Lowcountry, and we'll get started.
Awesome. Firstly, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. I am so honored to be a part of this community, so thank you. My name is Kimberli. I am a wife to my lovely husband and a fur mama to a crazy chocolate lab and a grumpy kitty. I love binge watching shows on Netflix, listening to 90s music, strolling the streets of Savannah, who doesn't, and reading all of the books. What brought me to Lowcountry is my husband's job. I'm originally from Connecticut, but moved to Georgia in 2010 because of my dad's job. It got relocated, and I met my now husband, fell in love. We moved to Savannah for a year so we could finish school, and then moved back to North Georgia for a few years. And then he got offered a nice job at Fort Stewart, and we love Savannah so much, so we're like, yep, take it. And we moved back down here and been here about 5 years now.
That's incredible.
We love it. We love it. And then what I do, I am an entrepreneur. I started my own business about 2 years ago as a lead gen specialist. And what I focus on is helping online entrepreneurs bring their ideal client into their Instagram account so that they can sell a lot more easily to them.
Amazing. That's okay. So before we get even into the topic, whenever someone asks me what I do, I'm like, okay, let me try to remember how to generate this entire spiel, and you freaking nailed it. Like, you know what you do. This is your baby. You've got it down.
Many years of trial and error, and then I finally just nailed it down, and so much easier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, wonderful. Thank you again, Kimberli, for joining us. This is so exciting. And can you hear my air conditioner by chance? Is it too loud? Okay.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, it kicked on. Let me make sure we can still hear each other. Great. All right, cool. So since your job is basically kind of helping your clients research their audience, how they can attract that audience and generate any sort of lead and convert those leads into some sort of booking, can you walk us through the process? Like, what phase is your client coming to you at? Are they completely lost on social media? Are they like desperate for bookings? What is the journey from finding you, and how do you get them into the right place and on the right track?
Yeah, so a lot of my clients come to me completely just all over the place. I think so many people who are growing a business on Instagram, they focus a lot on the following number. So they have just a bunch of random people in their audience, people that aren't even, their ideal client. So a lot of them come to me saying, I'm doing all of this engagement, but nothing is, turning into a client or a sale. No one's booking calls. So when I go into their account and actually look at, who's in there, they just have all of these random people. And I ask them, do you know who your ideal client is? And a lot of the times they don't. So that's where we first start. We first try to nail down who their ideal client is. A lot of times, going back and looking at, if you're offering a service, looking at what that service is and who you provide it to, that really helps you nail down who that ideal client is. Same with a product. If you're selling a product, who does that product help? We look at that, and then that kind of helps us figure out who that ideal client is. So then from there, I just go into the account and I use keywords and hashtags, and we kind of just find all of the clients that would align with them. So that's the first step. And then, we just kind of keep going from there.
Wonderful. That literally brought me like 4 new questions, but we're going to continue on with,
Go ahead.
with our questions. Okay, so you kind of touched on, finding your ideal client and how you're helping your clients with a lot of back end stuff, figure out who their ideal client is. So, what is something whenever we're looking at this ourselves? What is something that we need to kind of think about whenever we're building this client profile, other than this is the product I have, who needs this product? What is something else that we can kind of think about whenever we're generating in our mind our ideal client?
When you build your ideal client profile, you are going to zone in on what your ideal client needs and wants. That's really all it is. That's really what you need to look at. You want to really get a good idea of what's the problem, you're solving for them and how. And then you want to also look at, once you're done, what will their life be like once you solve that problem for them? Will they be getting the calls? Will they be selling their products? Will they be booking clients? And then you also want to look at, well, that's pretty much what you want to look at. But there's really nothing more to it when building your ideal client. You really just need to get, zone in on what you are offering them, what, your service is going to do for them.
Yeah, and you absolutely touched on a very important point that in our global Rising Tide event, they also mentioned the same thing. We're looking at pain points, we're looking at how you can solve that for them. And the speaker, who was Candace Coppola, she mentioned how whenever you're selling something, sure, they're buying a product, but they're not looking at the product. They're looking at the end result. What are they going to get after they invest in your company, or if they buy your workbook, or if they schedule a photo session with you? What are they going to get after that? Beautiful imagery, new knowledge, a sense of calm after they've read through your workbook, whatever it can be. So I think that's very interesting that, that's no matter what industry you're in, that's really the end goal there.
And I mean, of course, other factors, do you really align with them in other ways? I mean, if they don't drink coffee, does that mean they're not an ideal client? No. I mean, if you can help them, then yes. So it's not necessarily looking at, what kind of movie they like, or, of course you want to relate and align with them as well. So as long as you have a good connection and you feel like you could truly help them, then I mean, that's your ideal client.
Heck yeah. Awesome. That's so great. Okay, so now we know who we're selling to. We've kind of looked within ourselves. We've looked within our business. We know who we're trying to attract. We understand the pain points. We understand how we can solve that. What is one way that we can just start reaching this target audience?
You have to know the keywords in Instagram that your ideal clients are searching for. And that's something I do when I go into your account. I learn what those keywords are. And, that's how I start bringing those ideal clients in. Another thing I would say is valuable content. This doesn't mean you have to kill yourself, posting 3 times a day, 5 times a week. But I believe less is more personally. But in order for your audience to find you, you got to make yourself visible. So creating some good content that just leaves them wanting more is a great way to be seen, to start bringing them in and, reaching out, wanting to know more, wanting to start a connection with you.
Absolutely. See, every single time you say something, I'm like, let me write this in my brain, start thinking about the content. Because specifically with my business, photographers are a dime a dozen, honestly. Their styles may be different. Our personalities are definitely different, but I have recently noticed some pain points that my couples have, and I've recognized ways that I can uniquely help solve those problems. So definitely figuring out a way to add value in the social media content is something that needs to be worked on, instead of just, okay, let me get into my Planoly, post my post every day with the normal hashtags and move on and hope something sticks.
Yeah.
That's clearly not working these days for really anybody.
Oh yeah, I've done that for so long, because I just felt like I had to get a post up to be seen.
Yes.
But that doesn't work. You just have to, I used to post 5 times a week and it was exhausting and I was seeing no results. And
Mhm.
now I post 2 to 3 times a week, sometimes 4 if I'm really feeling excited about something. But typically I do 3 posts, and you know what? I've seen the most growth doing just that.
That's awesome. That's great to hear, honestly, because I think a lot of us nowadays are so overworked, and everything is expected at the drop of a hat. Someone inquires on your site, they want that pricing guide immediately, they want that digital download, yada yada. We have a lot on our own plates. The next step, obviously, trying to find additional clients, it's a lot of work. So yeah, that's good to hear that that does work for you and for your couples or your clients. That just a few important posts a week is working.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, continuing on. Looking at the keywords, figuring out what your client is searching for. Now we have an idea in our head. What is something that we can do today to generate just a little more engagement? It's a Saturday. People aren't usually on social media anyway, but let's just take this little thread of knowledge and apply it on a later day.
Yeah, so people are so used to, getting those slimy messages or not having others respond to their stories, or, even reach out and talk to them or leave meaningful comments on their posts. So what you can start doing today, or, later on when it's not the weekend, you can start engaging with stories more. And I don't mean just, sending an emoji. I mean leaving an actual response, genuine response, getting a conversation started. If you're not responding to a story, you can send them a message and say, hey, happy Friday. I haven't talked to you in a while. How have you been? Leaving genuine comments on their posts. Those are all just great ways to start, building relationships, building trust, getting conversations started. And even if someone, leaves a comment on your post or replies to your story, start a conversation up that way. Ask them what they liked about the post, or if they do respond to your story with just an emoji, reach out, say hi, start a conversation. So it's really all about the conversations and the genuine connection.
That's very encouraging to hear. As we were discussing earlier, sometimes it can be hard to even generate a conversation in person. We kind of have the anxiety about being in social situations. I get it. And that's one thing I feel like I never do, is I respond even saying, oh my God, thank you for saying that about this piece of art that I've created, because I'm like, I don't even accept the praise. That I'm like, okay, I'm just going to ignore that you said something nice about my post and just continue on with my day. What are we doing? We need to follow up with these poor people.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I respond to every comment, even if it's those spammy ones that say promote or whatever.
Yeah.
Little clapping emoji. And that just shows, my audience, I'm there, I'm here, I'm responding, I'm ready to build connections. So.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, cool. Last little bit of information that we are going to chat about. So obviously we have to pay to connect with you and to have this research started and figure out, what we need to do, the next steps to kind of start getting this engagement. Personally, I'm ready to invest just from our conversation. I'm sure other people are ready as well. But let's say we're in a space here where we're not quite ready. We know it's something that we need to work on. What is something that we can do today just to kind of, what's a tip that we can take away from our conversation today just to help someone who's not quite ready to invest?
So I have a few things. This first one might sting a little bit, but it's because it's something that I personally learned when I was in that same situation. So if someone is not ready to invest, I would encourage them to think about why they're not ready to invest. Because if investing in yourself means that you could be selling more, then why not? And like I said, I don't mean that to be harsh or, say that as someone who has invested in themselves. I have a coach, my business coach has a coach. So, growth takes investment financially. And if you don't have the time to focus your energy on creating that genuine relationship, because it is time consuming, you're not going to have ideal clients to sell to. So it may take a long time for you to feel like you can even invest ever. So my tip would be to start getting serious and thinking about how you can make the investment work. But I know, like you said, that might not be possible for everybody. So I would suggest also networking more and just getting your name out there, doing something like this, going into shops or, whatever it is you sell or have, just networking and talking to people, getting your name out there. And of course, continue nurturing who's already in your audience if they align with you, because you just don't know. If you're not, nurturing them, you could be missing out on some great, great, great leads.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. That honestly, okay, I know you said that could sting and that could scare people, but I don't think that's how that came off at all. That is really helping people take a good look at themselves, reminding us that, you kind of sometimes need to spend money to get any sort of return back, and really just growing your own in your own personal journey is going to help your business in the long run. So
a year and a half ago, I probably wouldn't have said that, but because, like I said, it's something I have learned, I feel it is very helpful for business owners to stop and think about that and just,
absolutely.
that invest, even if you don't feel like you can.
Yes.
I didn't can, and I made it work, and it's worth it. So.
Wonderful. And I think right now, a lot of us who are listening to this are realizing our strategies right now are not working as they used to work. Before, I could generate leads on Instagram, no problem. Hashtag some city that I want to work in, I'm going to get a lead for that city. That's not working anymore. And I think a lot of people recognize that and understand that there's people out there like yourself who know what strategies are working for us as your potential client. So that brings me to, I know this wasn't something that we discussed, but what type of clients do you usually work with? Do you attract a certain field, or do you work with, makers, doctors? What are we working with usually? Anybody?
I have a big variety. I have a lot of coaches, so business coaches, small shop owners. I have had movie theaters. I have had behavior therapists, education, just a little bit of everything. And I just love it all, because at the end of the day, I'm doing the same thing. I'm helping these people find their people so they can grow. So I am pretty open to who I take on as a client. But right now, I think my biggest clientele would be business coaches and just, small online shops, makers. Like
cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Great. Okay, cool. Well, that was really everything that we had to discuss. Let me just make sure we didn't get any last minute cues from our poll this morning, or our little question box. Let me make sure. Okay, nothing new. We kind of covered everything that was in there. Great. So thank you so much for sharing all of that. If you want to just kind of share any sort of offerings or events that you're taking part of soon, just let us know what's going on with your business and where we can find you, and then we can wrap this up.
One thing. So this was my special event for this month. I have nothing planned event-wise, but I do have an offer on my 90-day lead gen package. It's typically 7K value. Right now it's 4K. And this just includes, weekly engagement, an additional 30 minutes on top of that each week of engagement, Voxer access to me. Yeah, so I have that going on. And then where you can find me is Instagram at Life with Kimberli. And my website is also www.lifewithkimberli.com. Yeah.
Perfect. We will go ahead and share those links even for your special offer in the Facebook group and on Instagram. along with all of your connections so that we can reach out to you on social media or on your website. Thank you so much, Kimberly. This has been so great. I'm going to just share our next month's topic is diversified income. So if you are experienced in that field, or if you're an expert and you want to share kind of your story on how you've grown your business with diversified income, please reach out in our Facebook group. We've got all the details in there, and we will be meeting in person next month. So we look forward to seeing everybody there. I'm going to pause this recording and then we can finish up our conversation. So thank you, Kimberly.
Thank you so much.